What's the most disrespectful thing a guest ever did in your home? It's so hard to choose, so I have to give 3 answers. Smoked opium in my house after I told him he couldn't smoke opium in my house. Got in a fist fight in my living room and smashed up some shit in the process. Accidentally punched me in the fracas. Gave someone a haircut while I was passed out and left the hair all over the floor. The first 2 was the same friend and the last one was actually his younger brother who received the haircut. It's long. I'm sorry. The TL doctor is the audacity of that bitch to make me hunt for a shit-covered cell phone. I made a massive tactical error and invited the older-than-us couple from across the street over for a night party. We really liked him. She had clearly burned out on drugs at some point. She showed up with a box of wine. No judgment, but it is low-key weird to show up and tell your host that their shit isn't good enough for you, and said, "I only drink this." Then she saw the Bombay Sapphire and realized she did, in fact, drink other things. She spent the night getting rather plastered on my dime. No problem, we were always well stacked for our parties. My friend and his girlfriend showed up. Neighbor asks the woman how far along she is. Girlfriend is taken back and asks, "What?" Neighbor points at her belly and says, "You got a baby in there, right, reader?" Our guest was not pregnant, did not look pregnant, and you would think another woman would know not to ask something like that. Towards the end of the night, very drunk neighbor decided that she needed to wash our dishes. I had a dishwasher. I had expensive dishes. I did not want them washed. After she wouldn't listen to me, her husband finally talked her down from the dishwashing ledge. Few chips, but at least nothing broke and no one ended up bleeding. I had told them when I invited them, "Look, I know you're going to be the last ones to leave, so I'm kicking you out when everyone else goes." Around 1 a.m. the party is winding down and I tell the neighbors it's time to head home. She decides she needs to use the bathroom first before making the 50 trek back to her own. 2 a.m. She's back banging on the door. She can't find her phone. I let her back in. She can't find it. I send her on her way. 3 a.m. I get woken up. She's back, again trying to find the missing phone so she has it when she goes to work. Tell her to kick rocks and I'll look in the morning. 7 a.m. 7 fucking a.m. My neighbor is on the doorbell. She's basically accusing us of stealing a cheap flip phone at this point. 10 a.m. I go into the bathroom she had used. I piss and flush the toilet. It's clogged. Light bulb goes off. I try and snake the clog through. No success. Wife convinces me that we need to rescue the phone or else the neighbor will never believe us. So, I drain the toilet, take the tank off, break the caulking along the floor, and take the toilet up. There's a fucking shit-covered flip phone looking at me. Fuck me. Anyway, phone goes in a bag and over to the neighbor. Not even a thank you. Takes it and shuts the door. And that is the story of the night of the most disrespectful guest I ever had in my house. My husband's uncle. Not really uncle. Think he's actually a first cousin, once removed. Came over to help us with a water leak because he's a plumber. Offered him a cup of tea, and he sits at the dining table and just lights up a cigarette. Flicks ash on the floor because we don't have ashtrays as we are both non-smokers. Also, it was washing day so we had wet clothes drying on clothes racks in the room too. Being English, we both said absolutely nothing and let him do it. Our fault really. But we kind of felt we couldn't object because he'd fixed our plumbing problem and refused to accept payment. Perhaps it was a generational thing, as he was around the same age as my husband's parents, around 60-65-ish at the time. Brother brought a few friends over after a party he was at was busted. We weren't prepped for guests but rushed clean before everyone came. We told my brother to make sure everyone stayed downstairs and used the downstairs bathroom since the upstairs one was cluttered. Well, I went to use the bathroom upstairs and the door was locked. I banged on the door, and quickly popped out 2 girls with suspicious looks on their faces. I went inside and saw everything open. The closet, the shower, the cabinet, as if they were going through our stuff. Turns out they were recording and taking photos of them reacting to different products and our shower. We just moved here and haven't yet redone the bathroom. The home previously belonged to an elderly couple who haven't updated it since the 60s. Picture the bathroom as covered in pink carpet, link tiles, pink toilet, pink sink, etc. We live in a high-income town and these girls came from much wealthier homes than ours. We are simply working class. They took these pics, videos basically mocking our home and products after we graciously let them in our home when we could have made them go home and ruin their nights. It was beyond violating and disrespectful. Still pisses me off thinking about it. I was the guest ... kinda. When I worked as a cable guy I had a very sudden and extremely painful stomach cramp, like my face was beet red and I sweating bullets. I asked the owner of the house if I could use the bathroom. By this time I know what is coming and I started to undress because I was overheating and felt like I was going to pass out. I blew the toilet up and did in fact pass out from the pain for like a split second. Do not know what caused the pain to be so bad. The smell was like something died. The bathroom had no air freshener. It was extremely bad. Boss showed up because I was in the bathroom for like 45 minutes. To whoever was the owner, sorry. The part in Dumb and Dumber reminds me of that day. Edit typos. A stranger hopped right to my house party from the bar we all started at. He acted super disrespectful. I was with a female date and he didn't respect that we were there together and kept trying to get one or both of us to sleep with him. Got aggravated about it when we said number, and then he wouldn't leave. I bought him an Uber and he refused to get in it. Started feeling scared. He knows where I live and had to ask some of my guy friends to step in to get rid of him. He left for 10 minutes then came back, yelled we were all racist for kicking him out. It wasn't a giant house party either, just 8 close friends hanging out after the bars closed for the night. Should be common sense if you're an uninvited stranger at a party. The least you do is be respectful to the host. Invited about 15 friends over for a party at my house and late into the night, we were having so much fun that anyone who wanted to stay over did, which was like 12 out of 15. We were watching movies, playing card games, rehearsing. And then at 2 a.m. most of us were winding down and trying to go to sleep. 3 of my guests went into the common area a few meters away from the rest of us that were trying to sleep, and stayed up all night on their phones and iPads, watching vulgar content. NC-18. I'm sure you can guess what it was, playing music, laughing and joking. Eventually my mother, who was sleeping literally behind the wall they were making the noise from, got fed up and basically told them all to put it away and go to bed. They put headphones in but still didn't go to sleep. A very long and restless night later, the rest of us are replenished and wide awake. Those 3 that stayed up are passed out on the carpet and all around them are wrappers from almost every snack and sweet in our entire house. They emptied 3 tubs of ice cream, half a cake, the rest of which was ruined, all of our chips, cheese sticks, puddings, everything. Thankfully they didn't empty our cereal and bread stash, so we were still able to make everyone breakfast. But as soon as everyone went home, the house was destroyed and my parents forbade me from inviting those 3 again. Not that I complained. We don't talk anymore and I haven't invited them to social gatherings since. A friend asked to stay with me for a few days because she was having relationship problems. Turns out the relationship problems were all down to the fact she had a massive coke habit and her boyfriend was fed up of her spending all their money on it. The first night she invited 5 people who I didn't know round after I'd gone to bed and I had work the next day. Then she just disappeared for 3 days and went on a bender. I had her boyfriend calling me worried sick and nobody knew where she was. When she finally turned up she called me a shitty friend for not covering for her. She didn't even ask me to. Yeah, we're not friends anymore. Had our first big Halloween party in a new place. Had all the food and drinks, various beverages, alcoholic and non-and coolers on the deck, for everyone, and invited a handful of friends. My one friend asked to invite her new-ish boyfriend to the house. She brought him a six-pack, and when he showed up, he had another six-pack himself. He spent most of the evening staring daggers at another guest, who happened to be playing with his girlfriend's daughter, and drinking all the beer they had brought for him. Once that was gone, he started rummaging through our fridge. Beer was in the cooler. Had to ask him to leave our fridge and maybe have a water. After his 12-pack in like 3 hours, we all sat down to play an adult game after the kids went to bed, and he got up in the middle of it and walked down the hallway to the bathroom. When he got out, he went out to his car and came back in wearing a different shirt with noticeable vomit spots on it. We asked him if he got sick and he said number. I went to go to the bathroom a few minutes later and noticed all down the hallway there was vomit leading to the bathroom. In the bathroom, there was vomit everywhere, floor, wall, outside of the toilet. I yelled, "What the fuck?" So my husband came to see what was up. We spent a good amount of time away from our party cleaning up another adult's vomit. Once that was done, we confronted him. Thankfully, a couple of our good friends are bigger guys and tried to help defuse the situation because the guy got instantly offended and belligerent. Just refused to admit it was him. He even tried to pin it on the kids. One of them must have gotten sick, lol. He ended up threatening my husband and friends, and we ended up calling the cops on him just because I was sure he was about to get violent with the guys or my female friend. He was very scary, especially for someone we had just met. Thankfully, they took him to jail to sober up, and most of us at the party never saw him again. And that was the last Halloween party we ever hosted. TLDR, my brother's drunk one-night stand gives a very vocal performance and then tries to exit the stage through the wrong door. My younger brother went out clubbing a few years ago with a friend on a Saturday night. The friend was going to crash on the downstairs sofa when they got back. They came back around 2 a.m., obviously very drunk. That kind of drunk where you try and be quiet but fail miserably. This obviously won't me, but I figure, hey, it's a Saturday night, they've obviously had a good time, whatever. Then I heard multiple people come up the stairs, and then heard a female voice. Okay, so brother has brought home a girl. Not cool. My parents have always had the rule that you need permission to bring someone home. My mother's phone is always by her, and she would rather you text at a ridiculous time and ask permission than just bring them over. Shake my head at my brother's silliness, but maybe he can sneak her out tomorrow and get away with it. I hear the bed start to creak, and then the loud female moaning joins in. I'm talking fake porn levels of moaning. I'm mixed between being pissed that my sleep has been interrupted, the disrespect she's giving the rest of the people in the house, and the humor of how badly my brother is going to be murdered. They somehow managed to get through the act without my parents coming to his door. Then I hear his door open. I assume one of them is going to the bathroom. I hear another door open, again. I assume this is the bathroom door. A pause, and then "oh sorry" in a female voice before running footsteps to my brother's room. This girl had tried to go to the bathroom, entered my parents' bedroom by mistake and turned the light on. Mother is beyond angry. She and my dad had heard the sex but had decided they would deal with my brother and the girl in the morning. But oh no. Mother is going for blood now, so she barges her way down the hallway and into my brother's bedroom to start tearing him a new one. Remember how I said earlier that my brother had gone out with a friend, who was meant to be crashing downstairs on the sofa? He was in the bed too. Younger brother had his first threesome with one of his best guy friends and a random girl from a club, and got caught. As the screaming match starts between my mother and brother, I have slipped out of my room to use the bathroom. When I exit to go back to bed, mother is just leaving brother's bedroom, sees my outline exit the bathroom and starts screaming at me, telling me and the two guests to get the fuck out of her house. Me, Mom, "It's me," turns hall light on. "Mother, oh sorry, I thought you were another slut." She kicked the friend out, banned him from the house, and then called a taxi to get the drunk girl home. She's still a good human being. My parents have never let my brother forget it, but he wasn't allowed to bring home a girl, even if he asked permission, for over a year. Brother-in-law lived with us for a while to try to help him out. He lived rent-free for almost a year and then a small amount for rent thereafter. He rearranged everything in our kitchen without asking. He unscrewed the garage security light, I'm assuming to prevent it from turning on while he smoked. He stained our carpet and our walls with motor oil, printer ink, and something that bleached the carpet. He purchased and disassembled large electronics and left the pieces he didn't want scattered throughout the garage, and seemed put out when I asked him to clean it up. He would be late on paying the rent we asked for, and then would return home with the random things he'd purchased that day, and would even sometimes have the gall to show me what he'd bought. He would leave the garage lights on and deny that he'd done so. "I'm not your dad, just don't leave them on." He made me pay him to leave because he knew that we couldn't evict him due to COVID. On the day he agreed to leave, he dug in his heels and demanded even more money to leave. Seemed surprised that I wasn't pleasant with him after the fact. It was worth every penny. Good riddance, and never again. You'll have to decide which was the worst. Know how Ace Ventura would pile the sunflower seed shells on the arm of a chair? My ex's buddy did that to our couch, inches from an ashtray. Or the time we threw a birthday party and my other friend decided it would be appropriate to invite her drug-dealing cousin to our house. Someone I'd never met was busting out a scale on our kitchen counter with children at the BBQ. Friend got pissed with me when confronted because it's only weed. It's a total fucking stranger in my house. Chick, so glad my life is without these people in it anymore. Was living with my parents, and they regularly left the country every year for about a month. My friends and I all looked forward to this time, because I would have them over, move my drum set to the living room, and we'd get drunk and hang out for days on end. However, I was really selective about who could come over, and usually it was only my close friends who I knew I could trust, and occasionally I'd let a friend of a friend come over. I also had a few basic rules: cans and bottles go in the trash can, no smoking inside, and if you make a mess, clean it up. So I'm having one of these get-togethers. My cousin asked if he could bring his friend over, and I said yes despite not knowing the guy. It gets late into the evening and we've all been drinking. Cousin's friend asks if I have stuff to eat, and I told him to go check the refrigerator for something. He asks if he can have a microwavable cheeseburger. Sure, knock yourself out. About an hour later, I go to nuke something in the microwave and there's friggin' cheese cooked onto the microwave glass. I go back to where everyone was and ask who cooked cheese on the microwave and didn't clean it up. Cousin's friend goes, "Oh, it was me." I'm like, "No worries, just go clean it up." Looks me in the eye, straight face, and goes, "Nah." I'm like, "No dude, you made a mess. Go clean it," to which he responds, "I'm not cleaning the microwave." My drunk brain took this as a profound disrespect, and although I'm not proud of it, something came over me and I backhanded the shit out of that little punk. Anyone who knows me knows I'm the opposite of a hothead, never violent, so naturally the whole room goes super quiet. In my head, I just thought, here's this new guy, and I've been nothing but nice. Had him over, gave him drinks and food, and he has the nerve to refuse to clean his own mess. Despite that, I instantly felt super bad and apologized to him. He did cleaned the microwave though, and now whenever he's brought up, my friends remind me of that time I pimp slapped him. TLDR, drunkenly backhanded the new guy for not cleaning up a mess he made in my microwave. I invited a very close friend over for Christmas dinner the first year after our daughter was born. My wife and I lived in a very small ranch-style house. After a lengthy discussion with my friend about what he could bring to dinner, I emphatically said nothing, since that's how I roll when I host. We settled on a salad. We were pretty clear on time and length of stay since at that time we had a 6-month-old baby. He showed up 45 minutes late, with a new girlfriend whom we never met and had no idea about. She thought it was okay to bring her old, aggressive large dog, who terrorized our beagle and elderly chihuahua. Her dog pissed right on our one nice rug and they didn't clean it up. It pissed on the rug literally right in front of all of us and she didn't clean it up. She didn't even apologize. They didn't bring the salad they said they were going to bring. No big deal, but annoying since we had a long discussion where he was adamant about bringing something, and to top it off they stayed until 11 p.m. My wife went to bed an hour before they left, but they simply did not get the hint. I was shocked at their behavior since this was my oldest friend. I should have kicked them out after the dog piss incident, but I simply could not believe what was going on.